Okay, wait. How's this? Okay, are we live now? Can you hear us now? Is that how it works?
We should have tested this.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. I think they can hear us now. But do you get the echo, Andres?
I don't know. I don't
So
hear
do
it
you
right
hear the
now,
echo?
so I think we're okay. I
Okay.
just think it's hysterical that we've been on mute.
Yeah, I know. Dang, people. Dang, why ain't nobody say nothing earlier? Okay,
Because
yeah,
there was
people
no
working
one
now.
here.
Well, nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. All right. Well, they didn't hear what we were talking about. They didn't hear the very passionate discussion we're just
We got to
having.
delete all this, bro. We got to start again.
No. Well, hey, man.
I'm not putting this back on, bro.
Hey, nah. All right.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to Succession Talk. We're here to talk about the latest episode of Succession. I'm Andres. I'm here with RB3. Honeymoon states, if you missed our entire conversation on mute, which if you
Everybody did.
stayed and you just watched our faces, and I don't know.
Right.
Either way, we're talking
people
about Succession.
Come on,
breaking
y'all.
it down. Honeymoon states, RB3. Last week's episode was huge. The death of the powerful, the almighty Logan Roy finally happened.
Right.
Texted you about it. Huge moments coming into this episode, obviously to the funeral and to the aftermath of his death.
Right.
How are you feeling about this season of Succession and these last two episodes as a two-piece?
These episodes were last two episodes are crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. Again, we just discussed all this for past 15 minutes. So I don't know how we're gonna edit this. I guess we'll just edit it right from the beginning. But yeah, nah. So yeah. Season 3, man. Season 4. It's been, we're big Succession fans on here, and seeing the whole build up from the beginning is like seeing that promise, right? Like we're finally gonna see who is gonna take over for the succession from Logan Roy. And yeah, when he finally passes away last episode, it definitely, it presented in a very heartbreaking way. I think a lot of America was heartbroken, and I think I think because the show takes place mostly from the family's perspective, you get why it's why they're upset, why the kids are upset, why they're crying and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this episode does a really good job of showing, they're upset, they're sad for one episode, but they're back to business, they're back to the ladder climbing, they're back to the crabs in the bucket mentality, right back at it in this episode. So yeah, it's funny in that way, but it's I enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely a massive episode last week when everyone watched it. Did you get it spoiled, by the way? Or did you watch it raw?
I watched it raw. Yeah, I watched it pretty raw. Yeah, did you?
I got it spoiled to me. I didn't necessarily get the exact spoiler, but certain pictures I can sum up what's happening. I mean, if you show me Shiv, Rome, and Ken crying together, that kind of spoiled. So I knew someone was going to die.
Right,
I figured it would be Logan. My second guess was Connor when I saw that picture. But I assumed that, all right, here we go. Logan's about to die, and he died.
It was a wedding, so normally weddings in Succession are not good times.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
it's a Game of Thrones tradition too.
Right.
What happens in weddings is crazy. But yeah, last episode was crazy. The whole shock of it was obviously a lot because a lot of the audience was kind of making sure if it's actually happening and if it's not a fake out, because we've had fake outs before in this show when it comes to Logan's death. So now that it's official, we see the aftermath of it. But getting to last week's episode, what I was saying before was that I think it was like an incredible litmus test for how people watch this show, watching the show, knowing that every person in this show is just completely unlikable and you can't root for them, or there's no one you can really root for. No one has that hero mindset or hero persona. Everyone has their own greedy agenda. So when you watch the show, you watch that knowing that. And then when the main figure of the deceit, the corruption, the abuse, the negligence, the illegal affairs, everything that happens inside the show, he's the king of it. He's the face of it. And he finally passes away. I don't know about you, RB3, but I texted you and I was like, am I the only one who's cool with this? Because to me, I see the show and I was like, the show builds up for 4 seasons telling you how evil this dude is. So evil. And I'm going to say that word again. So finally, this moment happens, and obviously, I'm able as an audience viewer to compartmentalize and say, I'm able to feel bad for the moment, for the kids, and for what's going on, and how tragic this must be. But at the same time, at the back of my head, keep it real when it comes to who these people are. And when it comes to the reaction of what's going to happen at the end. Even in last week's episode, I started to capture little glimpses. And I think the show does a good job of showing you little glimpses of like the whole, oh man, it sucks. Oh my God. But at the same time, it's like, but yeah, I mean, but there's something someone's got to take over, but something's got to change. Like that little moment of like, I guess I got to wear the crown. Like that whole like feeling that these kids have and that this group has of taking over. I mean, the show is called Succession, so of the succeeding of Logan Roy. So for me, this episode only confirmed my beliefs. It was absolutely insane that this took place the day after RB3. They literally kept saying yesterday. I was like, not even a week, man. I don't know. Talk to me about that, because that to me was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta pick up in the steak early. It's like they say, when you get a lobster, you don't want to eat that mug when it's like a week dead or something. Nah, they want to serve that mug up to you right out the cage, right fresh. So yeah, they ready to eat. They're ready to eat off this man. And I personally am. That's funny because I really do think like they, for one. I think, we talked about this during the muted part, but obviously I think like for the family, they grieve, for the kids in particular, they grieve because it's their dad. You know what I mean? It's like, it's their family. And I think people who are watching it on TV, they probably related to like their personal experiences, family experiences. But then like when you take apart from what the show actually represents and who they are, they get right back to business of who they are and show who and what all these people are, down to, Marsha, who comes back into the picture. We haven't heard from her like all season at all. Carrie is like running up. She's like, oh, let me get upstairs. Let me grab something. She's like, nah, I got the backpack for you already. It's good. Then we got, obviously, Rome. Rome.
No, Tom.
Oh, Tom. Oh, yeah. Tom's, picking, even Tom, who was like his best guy, he's like, oh, yeah, he died fishing his phone out the toilet when it was clogged up. Like, yo, man, you just de-glamorizing the death like completely. Yeah, everybody's all sad. Everybody's all grieving. But then in the last episode, but this one is back to that cutthroat nature that we're used to. And even, shout out to that boy Hugo, man, who literally as soon as homie was like even hurt, he I guess called his daughter offshored a lot of those accounts, and could end up getting in trouble with for real. So yeah, it's tough. Literally
Every single person in this show is not a good person.
Yeah, Jerry, who was just fired, who literally
you were just fired.
Now she's like playing herself to like be CEO. You know what I mean? Trying to like play herself to be a top dog. It's just very funny how everybody is kind of even like even the second that Kendall had an inkling, a suspicion that he might be the guy. He completely folds. He was so anti his dad, so anti everything. But the moment he's like, oh, maybe it was me, like he literally goes full team, team corporation, team Logan. So, and Rome was already kind of halfway on that side, so he jumps over. So it's just interesting. Now it's like the world against Shiv. She's literally getting divorced. In the beginning of the episode, if I'm not mistaken, she was also maybe pregnant, or was that what they were saying? Or I don't know.
Yeah, that was what it was. Yeah, that's why she was crying with Tom in the stairs, remembering the moment when they first met each other. That was that moment they had. Yeah, I feel like the show does an amazing job of telling you what it is. There's a quote. It's actually a book from George R.R. Martin. Shout out. The Feast to the Crow. The Crow to the Feast, my bad. Which is basically just like once the king dies, all it is just crows coming at to feast, which is just a feast for crows is my bad what it's called. But what it is essentially is saying when the king dies, everyone wants to get little pieces of flesh of the king, which is exactly what happened in this episode. I feel like this was a Game of Thrones episode essentially, because this is what happens in Game of Thrones, where everyone wants a little piece of that power, no matter who it is. They don't care. They don't care that he died. They know that he was an evil dude. They don't like him. Like this whole thing is just a moment of grief. And I mean a moment where Rome kept saying, yesterday, to the point that it's like, and now he's joking about how his dad was evil and an abuser and a racist and all this stuff. And it's like, this shows you exactly what this is. I don't know. That's why to me last week, I felt like I was going nuts when everyone was like crying their eyes out as if they were watching like, I don't know, Lassie or something. Like, I was like, what kind of show have we been watching? Are you watching like Pixar right now? Like, are we watching a Disney movie? Did someone just like lose their dog or something? Like, this dude was evil, bro. He was like the worst human alive. And I was like, is it a bad thing he's gone?
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, that's the good filmmaking right there. That's the good storytelling right there. How they flipped that, how they incorporated that, So good for them. I really do think that overall, what this episode showed us, and again, I said this during the muted part. It's called Honeymoon States. Obviously based on the Connor, and their electoral thing, states that they're going to travel. But it's also like the early like states of grief, you know what I mean? Stages of grief where, you're grieving in one moment, next minute, you're ready to cut some throats. I'm sure when the actual proper funeral rolls around and people have to give eulogies, then there probably is going to be like another more emotional kind of side to it. And we're kind of just seeing like the personal backstabbings happen already. Like I said, with Shiv, feeling like betrayed by her brothers. Everybody's like kind of going through their own kind of way of processing the situation. But honestly, like by themselves, even Tom, like Tom really is like the one who's like on the island by himself because he chose to go against his wife. He chose to go against the kids and chose to go, pro Waystar, but the only person who's really protecting them is literally dead. So it definitely is going to come down to more complicated things that I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's crazy because Tom is next level, bro. Like homie is he'll do whatever it takes. He'll stay alive. He's a snake in the grass. Because to me, Tom is like, this episode showed you how he went up to pretty much everyone and was like, hey, just so you know, like I got your back. Like I think it should be you. He said that to Kendall. He said that to Roman. He put that in Roman's head too. Obviously he went back to his wife, Shiv. Right. But to me, it shows you that every single person inside this group, and I know Jonathan Yara, only homie in the chat right now. Shout out to you, Jonathan.
What's up, Jonathan?
Said Greg is cool. I disagree. I think Greg is just as bad.
Oh, I think Greg is bad.
It showed in this episode, man. This to me, Greg is just like an opportunist. Homie just jumps on any opportunity, no matter what it takes, to get as much money as he can and to negate any actual benefit that he can do. If he wasn't, then he would have joined his freaking grandpa.
Yeah.
And it would have been simpler.
Yeah. No, he is an opportunist, but I feel like he's like a more innocent version.
He's just dumb. He's just dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb. He's innocent.
But he's still an opportunist.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, I think he kind of learned that from hanging out with these people, with this family. Like, yeah. I kind of think that's just something that kind of rubbed off on him. Which is funny, and I think it's like a character trait. I kind of hope that's something he breaks sometime down the line. Because he is kind of just getting like kind of greedy with it, like especially like kind of marching down. Everybody's still like, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry," and everybody's like, "Yeah, Greg." Like, all right, but yeah, hopefully he learns his lesson from that. That should be some consequences to his stupidity.
So let's break down this episode. Obviously, we have two crews. I call them the two crews: the corporate crew and the kids crew. The kids crew is obviously Roman, Kendall, and Shiv. The corporate crew, Frank, Carl, Carolina, and Jerry. Those are and Tom as well. We have those two factions meeting up to discuss the succession of this company, Waystar. So we have Frank discovering the paper that was written by Logan, saying that Kendall possibly could succeed him sometime in the past 4 years. And he has it underlined. I thought that was hysterical. I died laughing. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or not. Arbiter, you're clearly not laughing, so I guess it wasn't supposed to be funny.
I mean,
but he has it either underlined or crossed out, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah, I thought it was crossed out.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like 50-50, but not really. By the way, the echo's back.
Oh, Okay. There it is. Is that back in the show?
And no, I'm good, but
Yeah.
essentially the possibility of Kendall succeeding. The crew doesn't like it. The corporate crew doesn't like it. The kids, mainly Shiv and Rome, don't really like it too much. But this is now where it's headed. They discuss it. They say that Shiv should be left out for now, at least on a public front, and it should be Roman and Kendall as co-CEOs taking over the company and being the face of this company. And they have the full backing of Frank, Carl, Jerry, Carolina, all this crew behind them. How did you feel about where did we go from here and how did we get here and how the board's going to react next week when it comes to this decision?
Hey man, I mean, it's just like in America, sometimes one woman who's the most qualified gets pushed down the furthest, and that's how it goes. And listen, Shiv, I personally thought Shiv was the most qualified all throughout the series, and she definitely seems like the most buttoned up and professional. I mean, she doesn't have a drug problem, like she's not like a raging like runs into the arms of like super right ringers like that, like Rome does. So it's like she obviously has like some common sense and some like sense of knowing what's good and what's bad. But she's obviously not that good at deciphering her own conscience either. So it's not like she's the best. She's not the voice of morals per se either. So
yeah, how do you feel about the paper with Kendall being the apparent successor and him kind of doing his own side plan to fully take over? Which I think is that how you interpreted the last scene? That's how I interpreted it.
Wait, say what?
How do you feel about Kendall trying to eventually be the main guy to take over?
Oh yeah, I mean he's it's always a play. Like everything's always a play with these people. Like it's never just gonna be as simple as he could do it by himself. He could do it with Rome. He could do it with his brother. He could do it with family. No, it's always a long term goal, and that's something that even Shiv alluded to earlier. Like you think it's really just gonna be interim. Like nah, it's really a play to take over fully. And he probably he has friends. He has people like Stewie and things of that nature. The only thing that Rome has in his pocket is the relationship with that Mathis dude or that guy, the weird foreign dude who's kind of like the Elon Musk stand-in. He kind of has that relationship a little bit stronger, but at the same time, they're probably who knows even if that cell is like ready to go through or not. I mean, it seems like they've been kind of playing and kind of doing this power balance through and through. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how it all goes. But I really do think that. I think Shiv is going to make some sort of way to stop all this. Like she's not going to sleep easy letting these two goofballs run the company and or letting Kendall plot his way to the top either.
Yeah, because I found it interesting the way she reacted because obviously she was pissed, but the way they told her that she was guaranteed to have 100% equal all the way through and eventually she would be included inside this trio. It was interesting to see that maybe she didn't believe him, but she agreed anyways. Yeah. She didn't really fight it in that moment.
I don't believe him either. I mean, this seems like some social network, like kind of backroom dealing. Like, it's probably like 100% now, but it's probably gonna be like 1% in like 5 years or something.
Yeah, that's definitely it for sure. And I feel like there's definitely a connection there. But this is all in order to get a meeting with the board, and the board is the real power. So this is all just a preface to what we're actually going to face when it comes to the board. So how do you feel like the board is going to react and how the deal is going to respond to this? The whole deal is going to shake up now that we have this two-headed monster with Roman and Kendall.
Well, I would love to see if homie's gonna come back, the brother. You know what I mean? See if because if last time not Connor, the brother of Logan, like who who was on the board as well, because he kind of like left on bad terms before, so he probably will have like a huge say in who's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious in the board. I kind of forgot like how what teams like people used to play or what they are playing. I know there's teams like like there's the Pierce people, like there's obviously Stewie and things of that nature. So it's like there's probably enough. They probably have enough sway to get that kind of vote over on the board. Unless, again, I just think Shiv's not going to sit quietly. Like, Shiv's going to do something to sabotage it. This board meeting's been pushed like so many times already. I could see it getting pushed again, this hypothetical board meeting. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what's going to happen for sure. I'm curious what's going to happen with the deal, the Gojo deal as well. I feel like we can probably get to speculation as far as where the season is heading. I mean, I know we're 4 episodes down, but where do you feel like it's going to go? Do you feel like it's going to go with like a blow up of the company? Or do you feel like everyone's going to be left out or left hanging? Is there going to be one person on top? How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about that. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I think it's leading towards disaster, personally. I feel like someone is going to have some sort of like super bad repercussion for everything they've done, whether it's a Roman being found out, whether Jerry goes to the press or something like that, whether it's Kendall getting his past brought back, maybe. I know that's an old one, but maybe you never know. It could come back. We still have the security guy. I forget his name, but he's still there. So you never know what he can play as a hand in the witness, maybe. We still have Carrie. She's a wild card, so she can come in with like some evidence or some testimonial, something that Logan told her or showed her that no one else knows about, but she knows about. There's so many, you know what I'm saying? There's so many crazy angles that could happen. That to me, it's just exciting. It's just sad that it's definitely the last season, but I'm definitely pumped to see what happens with this little crew that we have. I definitely think it's going to focus on the kids, but I'm excited for it. I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was nuts just to see everyone, as I said before, just feasting at the corpse of Logan while his body is still fresh, ready to just completely bury him when he's already being buried, by just throwing him under the bus when it comes to what Kendall was saying at the end. I thought that was kind of wild, but at the same time, worthy. It makes sense considering who his dad was, man. Like, you got to be real at some point for who he was. But shout out to one homie, old ancient man. I think his name is Sandy. He came in smiling ear to ear.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah. Wasn't he on the board too? Or I know there was like a couple old, like real old geezers that like couldn't even be in the room. Like they had to like remote phone in. And I do think it's to speak on like what the company, I think the company is like too big to fail. I think it's one of those kind of situations. I think it's probably one. I think if anything, I think they might. For me personally, I think they might like either sell it or some no name ends up running it. And I just kind of think none of the kids end up being being in charge. It could end up just being like Jerry or like you said, like Kathleen or somebody who like isn't really important. And I really do think like Shiv would find a happy life with her child. Rome will find like some happiness with Jerry or something.
Damn, bro, you think it's gonna be a happy ending? Damn.
I mean, something. I mean, just not like. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think. I don't see why not. I mean, I think people see some people. As ruthless and as heartless as these characters are, they're not. They are. They're the embodiment of capitalism, but they're also like. The show does a really good job making you empathetic to like who they are and who their struggles are and like who they are as human beings. So it's like I kind of do feel like it's not going to end with something like too crazy or like over the top, like in terms of like somebody like dying or anybody else like dying or anything like that. But I do think like, I don't know. I don't want to say happy ending. I just think like they have to find peace. I think the characters are going to find peace outside of this company, just through forces that they have either control of or no control of, and they just have to reconcile with that. I think that's honestly how most business families end up like anyway. Like most people, I don't even think like Bill Gates' kids are going to have anything to do with Windows like anytime down the line. I don't think Bill Gates has anything to do with it, So just one of those things that like just trickulates outside of, who they are.
Yeah, but I feel like that was addressed in this episode too, where Stewie told Kendall, like, why not just chill? Why do we have to? Oh, and even Frank did too. Frank told him, he's like, why do you want to jump back in? Like,
Yeah,
this is the
for the
kind of,
good. Yeah,
world that will eat you alive. Like, wouldn't you rather just be like a rich person and
right,
just enjoy life?
right.
But Kendall wants that power. He saw it as like, you know, moth to the flame. Like, homie no one's gonna stop Kendall from trying to get as much power as he can. So he really wants that. And I feel like I don't know, to me, that's where it's headed. To me, it's headed towards them wanting to have the ultimate power. And eventually they realize that they're not cut out for it. And something just comes in and just runs them over, whether it's a past transgression, whether it's a corporate decision to cut them out somehow. But either way, I don't see this ending happily. Let's address real quick Jonathan's comment about Shiv. Yeah, in the phone I rewatched the scene to make sure, but yes, she is pregnant, right?
Yeah, that's what I
I
got
feel
from
like
that too. I think that's what I got from that too.
the uh the word they used was amniocentesis, which is a prenatal test that you take during pregnancy. I looked it up because I was also kind of confused. I was like, wait, is that pregnancy?
Well, yeah,
But yeah,
because her and Tom had previously struggled to have kids before,
yeah.
so this happening now is like kind of a eerie, not eerie, but like coincidence. Just say coincidence. So it's good to see that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's talk about your show, man. I'm gonna watch
Barry.
it afterwards, so don't
Yeah.
whatever
Okay.
you could say that's not like super non-spoiler, because I
Right.
love Barry.
Okay, right. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil. So I can't. I actually don't have the capacity to spoil because I thought the season premiere was only one episode, but it's actually two. So good to know that it's two episodes. Now Barry is back, y'all. Bill Hader back in Barry. Obviously, we got a lot of characters returning. Sally, we saw. It's really just. And I'm going just off the first episode. I don't know what happens in episode 2 just yet. So as soon as we're off the stream, I would talk. We could watch that and scoop that. Maybe come back next week. But yeah, they. So obviously, Sally, she's upset by everything that went down. She flew back to Joplin. It's funny. As soon as she gets on the plane, she starts getting all these notifications. Like, what happened? What happened? Barry is officially arrested. We saw that at the end of season 2. He's in jail now. He's behind bars. He's kind of figuring out like what his deal with Fugues is. Like, are they friends? Are they not friends? Are they like on each other's side? Barry has a whole reputation now. Like, people recognize him as an actor. Even like in jail, which is kind of funny. Like, like you're that guy from TV, but then he is, really like this top tier assassin that nobody's really talking about. And yeah, man, it's just crazy, man. It was a good episode. Good first time being back. We got NoHo, Hank, and Christabel. They chilling, doing their thing too. It's good seeing them back. But and again, it's like, yo, man, Christabel is like, he kind of wants to tickle back into that lifestyle, into that criminal lifestyle, even though they chilling, sipping mojitos. I don't know. It's funny stuff. Again, I'm not trying to spoil too much. I know my man Andres hasn't watched it yet. So, and hopefully I didn't give away too much there. But it's just literally catching up right where everything left off in season 4. Pretty much like next day kind of situation. But also, we finally get to meet Sally's family, which is hilarious. They are the funniest family of all time. Like, then they're funny because of how real they are. They give no cares about this Hollywood ego stuff. And it's just really funny seeing that portrayed by like these Midwestern, people. So that was good stuff, man. Barry was good this week. Barry's good.
How'd you feel about the finale of last season?
Man, it was heartbreaking, man. Seeing Mr. Cusco turn on my man Barry like that, bro. Because honestly, Barry was doing everything right. He was protecting them. He gave him money. He did it right. Now, obviously, killing the girlfriend wasn't the right move. Definitely, like, he shouldn't have did that. But I mean, at the same time, Barry was just doing what he had to do. The homegirl was on his tail. Like, Barry couldn't do anything about it. So, yeah, it was. I hate seeing Barry get caught, but it's like, it kind of had to happen. Now and I can kind of see it in this episode. We're finally going to start to see the end of the Barry Baker saga, because it's all starting to come full circle for him and for a lot of these characters.
Yeah. I think that's funny, man. I feel like I don't know. I feel like we can get into it after I see the episode, but I'm definitely curious to see
Yeah.
this episode this season. Is this the last season of Barry too?
This is the last season of Barry. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Damn,
yeah.
man,
So
back
it's
to back.
yeah.
What do you? Let's end the conversation on this. Just because I love this kind of stuff, and this is like my kind of like area, and I know you hate it, RB3, and this is why we never want to go live because you never want to talk about this kind of stuff. But I love it. Let's talk about what do you think this streaming site is going, man? Do you feel like there's upward momentum? There's downward momentum? Do you feel like after these shows specifically end, do you see an upswing when it comes to the type of content that Max is going to make?
I mean, not on Max. I mean, I think if.
But isn't that all there is? It's only Max, right? They don't have another one.
Well, they're gonna have like HBO. The channel of HBO is still gonna be the channel of HBO, right? If I'm not.
Yeah, but that's still a premium channel you have to buy with the cable package.
Yeah, but the content that's going to be on HBO is still going to be on Max. So they're still going to have the top tier HBO shows. Like, there's nothing that's like going to structurally change about HBO, like per se. Like, I think what we see on Max is the same thing that we see on like how it's currently is. It's like only the HBO, which people need to stop overhyping. Like, I love HBO Max, and they're great because they have Criterion stuff, and the movies are fantastic. But when you talk about the shows on HBO Max, the shows on HBO Max that everybody loves are HBO shows. They're HBO. They're not Max originals. The only Max originals that people like is the Hacks. And then people, you can say Raised by Wolves, some specialties. You like the Station 11, but those are specialty. Nobody watches the Max original show. So it's like the streaming service is nothing but HBO movies and Warner Brothers HBO shows and Warner Brothers movies, like essentially. So it's like they're not gonna stop putting the HBO stuff on here. So to me, it's like not that. To me, it's just a rebrand that's like crappy. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's like necessarily the end of the world. I am gonna miss the HBO purple though. That was like the little purple icon on that, and instead of the blue. I'm like, bro, don't give me the blue crap because literally everybody has blue. But yeah, I love HBO. I think HBO always makes the right moves. So I do think the good content from HBO will still be available on there. All the other stuff they're going to bury on there they're going to bury. But I mean, listen, man, I'm not watching that Lizzo crap. I'm not watching the Selena Gomez cooking show. I'm not watching all the other bull crap that Max Originals put out because, I don't care either way. So, hopefully I just won't watch it in the future.
I think what people are kind of scared about is the fact that this is now the opposite of what you said, that they always make the right decision, but now they're not. Now it's David Zaslav canceling shows, and that quality, good-ass shows or good-ass concepts will get denied in favor of exactly what you said. Lizzo, Selena Gomez, cooking shows, TLC shows, Discovery, whatever it's called, when it comes to like really cheap reality shows that a lot of people watch. Like, that's what makes Netflix money. That's what makes Netflix stay afloat. It's not the quality content that costs tens of millions of dollars. And that HBO is not going to start to lean to that and be like, you know what? The kind of quality stuff we make, like Barry, like Succession, let's start making more like TLC presents Selena Gomez or whatever it is. Like, that kind of brand is now what they're going to aim for because they took off the HBO.
Not on HBO though. Not on HBO. Not on the channel.
But this
of
is
HBO.
But I'm saying on the streaming service stuff. Right. I'm talking about Max, not the channel.
But I mean, again,
no one pays for cable HBO, bro. Everyone has the streaming service. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, they're gonna put the channel's not going away. Like they're not. I'm talking about the content.
But the content from the channel is still gonna be on HBO.
I'm talking about future content.
But you don't think
they're gonna make in the future?
You don't think they're gonna? You don't think HBO is still gonna make good content like the channel HBO, just the channel? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very different than like the stream, like and they made it very different. Like, they clearly label stuff HBO Max original versus HBO original. They make that delineation very clear because HBO has 100 Grammys, 100 Emmys a year. HBO has all this. They're not going to lose that prestige. Like, they're always going to fight for that prestige. I think, you know, for me, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's always going to be the channel of HBO. And as long as there's the channel of HBO, we will still get the HBO shows on Max. And that, like,
I see what you're saying.
And I am literally, I don't watch anything else on Max. Like, I don't watch the Max. I don't watch, like I said, a single Max original I've never watched, except for Sweet Life, which is the spinoff on the reality show that Issa Rae produced. Also, Rap SHIT. That's another Max original that's good that I've watched. Again, you know, Station 11. There's a couple, but they're not big, massive shows. I do just think, like, yeah, like, I think HBO is literally the one channel that's like winning in their whole catalog. I don't even think TNT is like even that successful in compared to, like, people still talk about HBO, and I think they don't want to lose that, you know. And I do think also too, I do think the one thing about Max is, like, that I'm not excited for is this whole Harry Potter rebrand. Like, I don't love the whole.
But that's a good example.
Harry Potter, like, giving that like a whole new life, and we've already seen that. We've already done that. We don't need to do that again. I'm not really with that. You know, that's me personally. But yeah, otherwise, I don't have
as much faith as you do, man. I mean, maybe they will. But I feel like leadership has been crap for the past 10 years at Warner Brothers. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We've talked about it a million times when it comes to DC stuff. And now they're trying so hard to course correct. But even now, it feels like their direction they're heading in is trying their hardest to be as cookie cutter 4-quadrant as possible, to the point that they don't want to step on anyone's toes, to the point that they don't want to step on anyone's toes because of that HBO brand. And that's why they want to take it off partially. But there's also a comment from Sin Havoc 5150 saying that Warner Brothers Discovery is $100 billion in debt. I just feel like right now they're so obsessed with making the most cookie cutter crap, like a Harry Potter reboot show.
Yeah, that
to me is like, what are you doing?
All right.
So fingers crossed that kind of leadership and those kind of decision makings won't cross over to HBO. Yeah, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's what. Okay, yes. In that sense, yes.
Talk about leadership making those kind of decisions as far as budget and money and where we're going to spend it. So
yeah, I do. Okay, in that sense, yeah, I do 100% agree with you. I definitely agree that hopefully, if they start putting their hands in the HBO puddle, I will start to get worried. They might. But at the same time, though, again, like you just like you said, though, WB have been terrible for the past 10 years. But in the last 10 years, HBO hasn't been like terrible. We've got a lot of good stuff on HBO. So I think they're just like that one shield. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe they'll all fall apart and the corporate culture there will totally change. But I do think HBO is like that one bed of quality that's like they still have left. That, and it's kind of like how Disney doesn't let go of, they have certain prestige brands that they don't let go of. You know, it's just how certain people, they just have certain brand, Fox had that Searchlight, and even though that doesn't necessarily make money, it just has that prestige. Netflix makes movies not necessarily for money all the time, even though that's why they're in debt a lot too. But they make money, they make movies a lot of times for the prestige, like the $300 million that they gave Martin Scorsese for Irishman. Purely for prestige. So I think if the Warner Brothers WB were smart, they would want to at least keep some sort of prestige angle, some sort of brand reputation, and keep HBO running well. And if they flood Max with more garbage, more Discovery Plus content, I personally don't care, because I wasn't watching that anyway. I'm just here for, when is the next Euphoria season coming out? When is the next Last of Us season coming out? Because as far as my knowledge, none of that stuff is like fully going away. So,
for sure. To me, it's more like, would we have gotten The Last of Us in the next 5 years if it was just pitched right now? Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, would they be like, oh, we're leaning away from that now? Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. But maybe now the decision makers, the people who decide to greenlight this kind of stuff, might say no. But either way, that's a whole different conversation. Shout out to you guys for joining us for this weird live. Yeah. Definitely one of the weirdest. If you didn't decide to join us, it's all good. We'll be back some other time with more prestige, like HBO. We're going to be making a comeback.
Give us Batgirl. Give us Batgirl back, and then
give us Batgirl, man. Come on now.
I'll be subscribed to Max for the rest of my life if they do that. Let's get it.
But either way, guys, you can find us at First Cut TMO right here, First Cut TMO on TikTok and Instagram as well. You can find me at Squad Leader Ace RB3.
You follow me at Director RB3.
Either way, guys, for the First Cut crew, we're going to be peacing out. So deuces, peace.
Divide you in half. You getting at me equals a bloodbath. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Take you out the equation. It's either me or you.